Shalom, everybody. We're going to read Haftarah Qorach. And in case anybody hasn't heard, I'm offering a biblical Hebrew course that is it's a bit intensive, but it's also very thorough. And it starts July 7th. The class is almost full, but there's still more room. Let me know if anybody wants to. You can go to my website, hungryforhebrew.com, click on courses to find it. And if anyone wants to raise their hand or annotate on the screen in this class, here's how you do it. Who would like to get us started by reading this verse? All right, I'll read it first. Vayomer Shmuel el ha'am lechu v'nelecha hagilgal unechadesh sham hamelucha. All right, so we've got Shmuel, the prophet Samuel, telling the people, lechu. This is from what root? Lechu, there's a letter missing. It's from the root halach. Halach. So we don't get to see the first root letter. Halach is to go or walk, and lechu is the imperative. Go, come. Or it's like walk. But you can see how they've translated it here. V'nei lecha, this also has that root letter missing. Nun at the front and hey at the end says, let's go do it. Let us walk. Hagilgal. Where is Gilgal? Somewhere up in the northeast.
Geographically?
Yeah, yeah. So the Gilgal, if I'm not mistaken, is it on the other side of the Jordan, up in the closer to the Golan area? I don't remember. It makes me think of it because Gilgal reminds me of Galgal, which reminds me of the rolling hills. Well, all the hills are up north. And Unichadesh, and we will, or let us, Chadesh, make new, renew, Sham HaMelucha, from the root Melech, king. It's referring to the kingdom. Let us go renew the kingdom. Why? Because the, because the people want a king. They want Saul. All right. Who would like to read? Elizabeth, you have your hand up. Do you want to read? Turn your mic on so I can hear you.
Okay, I can do that.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
Vayeku kol ha'am hagigal Gilgal
hmm
vayam liku sham et Shaul lifnei Adonai bagilgal vayitz bechu sham Savahim Shulamim
Right.
Lifnei Adonai Vayis Vayismach Sham Shaul V'chol Hanashei Yes Yisrael Ad Ma'od.
Very good reading. Thank you. Vayelechu chol ha'am. And they walked or went. We have Yod at the front, U at the end. So they, 3 and P are the subject. And they walked. Chol ha'am is your subject. All of the people. This is a construct chain, so we supply the word of between it. And then Hagilgal tells us how they did it. It's adverbial. They went to Gilgal. Vayamlichu, again from the root melech, but this is a verb. Yod at the front, u at the end. So it's still they who are the subject. But the root is malach, to reign, and the verbal pattern is hif'il. This a'i pattern right here says they caused someone to be king. Whom did they cause to be king? Well, Et answers the question. Et Shaul. They coronated or crowned Saul. Where'd they do it? Sham, there. Lifnei Adonai Bagilgal, before the Lord in Gilgal. All right, so where, I guess that, would that be where the tabernacle currently is then? In Gilgal? I don't know. It's an interesting question. Vayizbechu, and they zavach, sacrificed. Sham, zvachim, sacrifices. Shlamim, what's the root of shlamim?
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, shalem.
Shalem.
So shalem could be like whole as opposed to in pieces. And then shalom means peace as opposed to war. So whichever one it is, some people will say whole, and like a whole burnt offering or whole offering as opposed to a peace offering. Either way, lifnei Adonai, before the Lord, vayismach, woohoo, from sameach, and he rejoiced. Who did? Saul and all the men of Israel. And how much did they do it? Ad me'od, until very, very greatly, mightily good, mightily, very much. The word me'od is translated in the Shema as might. Love the Lord with all your me'odecha, with all of your might.
Mm-hmm.
However, here it's translated more like an adverb, very much. Tells you to what extent. All right, questions on this? Who would like to read the next one?
I can read the next one.
Excellent. Go ahead, Georgiana. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So this is Vayomer Shemuel Elchal Yisrael Hine Shemati Vekolechem Lechol Asher Amartem Li Va'amlich Alechem Melech.
You're a swift reader. That's awesome. Vayomer Shmuel El Kol Yisrael. And he said, that is Samuel did, El Kol Yisrael, to all of Israel. Here's another construct chain. Hine Shamati, behold, I have listened or heard. V'kolechem. Audible or silent shva under the lamed? Anyone?
Audible.
Why?
Because of the long vowel before it.
Right. The unstressed long vowel necessitates that it be an audible shva. V'kolechem lechol asher amartem. In all or to all that you all have said to me. So what is all? It's explained here in the asher clause. This is what it all is. What you said to me. Va'amlich. What's the root?
Melech.
Malach. Very good. Is it a yiktol?
It's a Vayiktor.
Narrative path vayiktol. How do you know?
The vav and the there's no suffix. It's a prefix for I with
So,
aleph.
right. Aleph says I am.
And there's no dagesh because it's a guttural.
So the previous. All right. So if it's past tense, then it's a vayiktol, and it should have a vav patach and dagesh at the front. Well, it is past tense. It's narrative past, but we can't very well put a dagesh in the aleph. So instead of doing so, it lengthens the preceding vowel. So this is what we're looking for with an aleph as the yiktol prefix letter. It is narrative past, and I have caused or made king.
He feel.
Very good. The patach and the chirik tell us that it's he feel causative. Alechem, over
you
all. Exactly. over you all, and Melech, a king. They're all happy, and he's like, this is kind of a sad day. And okay, any questions? Next reader,
I can.
please go ahead.
ואתה הנה המלך מתהלך לפניכם, ואני זקנתי ושאותי ובניי חינם איתכם, ואני התהלכתי לפניכם מן מנעוריי עד היום הזה.
Awesome, thank you. Ve'ata. Ata is now, or at this time. Hine hamelech, behold, the king, mithalech. What's the root?
הלך?
Yeah. But what binyan is this verb? What flavor of verb is this?
This is hitpa'el participle.
A hitpa'el. A hitpa'el is usually some sort of a reflexive action that you do to yourself or a reciprocal action that you do with someone else. So what is this he feel participle telling us? Hamelech mithalech lifnechem. The king is walking himself? That doesn't make sense. Or maybe he's walking about with others before you all. And sometimes I want it's tempting to translate this as something like hang out with, spend time with, walk about with. So I think that might be what it's referring to. Behold, the king is or has been walking lifnechem, walking about before you all. Va'ani zakanti vasavti. Is this a vayikol?
No.
No.
Vekata.
Vekata. Wait a second. Earlier, if there was a vav and a kamatz, you told me that it was a vayikol, but that was because there was a following aleph yiktol letter. This is not an aleph, and it's not a yiktol. How do you know it's not yiktol?
There's a suffix.
Suffix T.
T, I did it. T says I did it. What did I do?
Vasavti.
T.
Vasavti. Vasavti.
I
And
thought that Vasavti. Isn't there accent on the last syllable when it's a vegetal?
usually, yes. But that is
Okay,
not
not always.
that. Yeah, there are plenty of exceptions.
Okay.
Usually having to do with where the stress falls or if it's a special or a weak root. But in general, you're absolutely correct. Vecatals will have the stress on the end. And this one, what is the root of this word?
Is it Savat?
It's related to seva. Seva. What is seva? Seva is old age.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So in this form right here, if you had to take a guess as to what the root is, if someone forced you into a corner and said, "What's the root?" You would probably just go with this right here. Alternatively, it could all, let's see, yeah, you wouldn't know whether it's a yod or a vav in this form, but that's okay. You know, it's a hollow root. It's related to the word seva, which is old or hoary-haired or gray-haired or something like that. The point is, he's saying the same thing twice. Zakanti, I have grown old. Vasavti, now I'm gray-headed. Uvanav hinam itchem. I'm sorry, uvanai. Uvanai and my sons, banim. Hinam has a suffix. We have hine, plus the suffix them. Behold them or see them, itachem, with you all. So we have to supply the verb, behold, and my sons are with you all. Va'ani hetalachti, and I, same verb, except in the katal, I have walked about, lifnechem, before you all. Min ne'urai. Who is a na'ar?
Youth.
A youth, exactly. Min ne'urai would be from my na'ur. Youthhood or some, I don't know how you would say that. Na'ur would be the age of youth. Ad hayom hazeh, up to the day, this one. Questions?
How do you say that my childhood again?
Which one? This
right,
one?
right there. Yeah, me
Mi
ne'ur.
mi ne'urai. Mi ne'urai.
Me ne'ur. Ni.
Mi ne.
Oh,
This is actually a yeah, it's hard to pronounce, so it's gonna be like that symbol right there. Mi ne'urai, something like that. Mi ne'urai. But nobody pronounces ayin that way anymore, so we'll just say mi ne'urai. But it comes from na'al, youth. And looks to me like I've got a word over here hiding. Wonder if I can move it over here. Can I do that? Yeah. To you all. There we go. Who wants to read the next one?
Okay, if no one doesn't.
Yeah, by all means. If anyone wants to read multiple times, please. Better than us looking at each other. Please go ahead.
Hineni anu bi neged Adonai v'neged Meshicho et sho mi lekachti v'chamo mi lekachti ve'et mi asakti et mi רצותי, ומיד מי לקחתי כופר, ואעלים עיני בו, ואשיב לכם.
No, v'ashiv lachem. Very good. Hineni, look at me or behold me. Anu, vi, hey you all, answer. I don't know why they translate it as here I am, or here I am witness. I don't know. It's an imperative. Answer, v, me, or possibly please. There is an Aramaic loan word, bi, which shows up in maybe Ruth. I don't remember. And in Hebrew, it probably turns into be. So this is either answer me, answer at me, or please answer. Neged Adonai, against the Lord. V'neged Mishicho, and against his anointed. Et shol mi lakachti. That's a weird way to word it. It doesn't sound good in English. Who have I taken, direct object, an ox? That's kind of weird in English, so we have to fix it up and say, well, whose ox have I taken? The chamor mi lakachti. And a donkey, whose have I taken? Ve'et mi ashakti. Whom have I defrauded? Et mi ratzoti. What's the root here? Ratzoti.
Retzach.
What can we peel away from this? Is there a suffix?
Yes.
So T says I did it. So we're left with this. Resh, tzadi with a dagesh, and an O. Ooh, what do we do with that?
Mm.
Ata.
The vav here is a transition vowel. It's kind of a theme vowel for hollow and geminate roots, so it's not part of the root, I'm afraid. The root is resh tzadi tzadi. It's locked right here in the resh and the double
Ah.
tzadi. So hatzatz has to do with doing something bad to somebody. Umiyad me, and from the hand of who or whom, lakachti chofer, have I taken. Anybody know a word, maybe a cognate from this same root?
Kapara.
Haftarah, Yom Kippur, Kofer, the stuff that Noah put on the outside of the ark is from the same root, some sort of a covering. The idea is,
Itch.
from whom have I
Well,
taken a covering so that not everything is transparent? So it's essentially a bribe. V'alim, what? You don't usually get to see an aleph and an ayin next to each other, but um,
Yeah.
what's happening in this verb? You also don't usually get to see an ayin with a shva under it, but it's not unheard of. It's possible. Well, there's a patach, there's a chirik yod,
It's a he
The
feel.
Heathfield.
the feel. I am the subject. I cause something
Be blind.
to diminish or disappear. Remember the root ne'elam, to disappear?
Mm-hmm.
So causing something to be far away. Einai my eyes. I'm turning or blinding my eyes concerning the matter in it. You tell me about it. V'ashiv lachem. Now, what's the root?
Shuf.
Shuv. We have a missing vav here, but it's because of the chirik yod of Hifil. Va'ashiv, and I will cause to come back, and I will restore, I will return lachem, to you all.
Mm-hmm.
Questions? All right. Who'd like to read next? Okay, I'll read. Vayomru lo ashaktanu velo ratzotanu velo lakachta miyad ish me'uma. Okay, so this is their reply. Vayomeru, and they said, lo ashaktanu, you did not defraud us. Velo ratzotanu, and you did not, you did not oppress us. Velo lakachta, and you did not take miyad ish, from the hand of a man, me'uma, aught, anything. You didn't take anything. All right. Comments, questions?
You are frozen,
I
Jared.
was frozen. I got a
Mhm.
little message that says your internet is not doing well. Great. And me'uma is anything, aught. And so you have not taken from the hand of a man anything. Okay, cool. So Shmuel has not done anything wrong. Who would like to read next?
I'll do it
Uh,
again. I want people to read.
All right, I heard somebody called Zoom user. Do you want to read?
Yeah. Good.
uh,
Oh, no, it wasn't. Who was it? Elizabeth, was it you?
Yes, I said I
Oh,
wanted
I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Vayomer Alehem Ed Adonai Bechem Ve'ed Mashiach Hayom Hadse Ki Lo Mi Ma Matzah Tem
Mhm.
Kayadi Me'umah B V B Vadi Buyadi Vayomer Age.
Very good. Vayomer Alehem. Yod says he is the subject, and he said Alehem unto them. Ed Adonai Bachem. Who is an Ed?
Says witness.
What's the root?
Wood?
Ud. Very good. Ud. Is it the same root as Moadim? Moed?
Maybe. I don't know.
Nope. No, because that's Vav Ein Dalet instead of Ein Vav Dalet. So be careful not to mix them up. What is a
So
Moed?
Moed is a appointed time, right?
Right, exactly. Moed is an appointed time, but an Ud has to do with testifying. So an Ed is one who is testifying. A witness. Ed Adonai, a witness. Is it in construct here? A witness of the Lord? Or, hang on a second. Ed Adonai Bachem. I don't want to trust the English translation here. So it looks an awful lot like a witness of the Lord is among you or is with you all. The Ed Mishicho, and a witness, Hayom Hazeh, either is his anointed or a witness of his anointed. Who is it referring to? His anointed, Mishicho?
Think it's King Saul.
Right. So the king is called anointed. Priest is called anointed. There's even one prophet that's called anointed. But also it's the word Mashiach, Messiah. So that's another development, if I can call it that, of the word Mashiach. Hayom Hazeh, this day, Kilo Mitzatem Beyadi Me'uma.
But isn't a Mashiach from this point on, anytime someone's anointed, period, Saul being the first one, and then David will become the next anointed. And didn't it even go back before that under Joshua? Wasn't he anointed by Moses?
I want to say yes.
I
He
thought
he was definitely commissioned. I'm just not sure if it uses the word Mashach.
I thought it used Mashah when I heard somebody else.
Okay.
I'm trying to follow the reading,
Okay.
and I'm just learning how to do that.
All right, cool. And okay, let's see. There's a witness. Ki lo matzatem, for you all have not, or yeah, you all have not found in my hand me'uma. What's going on here? Why is he like, have I done anything wrong to anybody here? It almost sounds like Yom Kippur, right? If I've wronged anybody. This is why I think that to Saul, this is not necessarily a happy day. They have rejected God and they want rather to have a king like all the other nations. So he's going to coronate this king because God told him to, but it's still kind of a sad day for him. It's not the optimal, it's not the original plan to just have God as king. Vayomer Ed. This is how in Hebrew you say yes. Not the word ed, but by repeating what the first person said. In biblical Hebrew, there is no word for yes. The word ken comes later. There's a word for no, lo, but there's no word for yes. If you want to say yes, you repeat the substance of what the person said. And so that's what they're doing here. There's a witness. And they're like, I'd sure is. There's a witness. You haven't done anything wrong to us. All right, next reader.
I'll go.
Mhm.
ויאמר שמואל אל העם, אדוני אשר עשה את משה ואת אהרון, ואשר העלה את אבותיכם מארץ מצרים.
Very good. Make sure to end your reading with with tuning the pitch.
מצרים.
Exactly, pitching the tune of your voice downward right at the end to make it sound natural. Very good. Vayomer Shmuel, and Samuel said, El Ha'am, to the people, Adonai asher asa et Moshe ve'et Aharon. Does asa mean advanced? What does asa mean?
Make her do.
To make or do. Well, what does it mean to make or do Moses and Aaron? Well, it's probably, making them what they are, appointing them. And Va'asher he'ela et avotechem. What is he'ela?
To bring up.
To cause to come up, to bring up. And whom did he bring up? Et avotechem.
Your fathers.
Your fathers. Me'eretz Mitzrayim. From the land of Egypt. All right. Who's next?
I can.
All right, go ahead. Thanks, Annie.
ועתה התייצבו וישפטה איתם לפני אדוני את כל צדקות אדוני אשר עשה איתכם ואת אבותיכם.
Brilliant. V'ata hityatzavu. Can you all think of any other cognates, any other words that have a similar meaning or similar root as this one has?
Yatziv is stable.
I like the modern Hebrew words you're throwing in there. And I'm not sure if Yatziv shows up in the Bible. What about nitzav?
Oh, yeah.
What's the root of nitzav?
Ninsaf.
Exactly. Now for the kicker. What binyan is it?
Nifa.
Oh, I see. I made it too easy. There. Now what binyan is it?
It's
Well,
Ninsa.
if
It's
Nifal
Nifa.
before is still the same.
Could it be a PL?
Ah, good, yeah.
Could.
Yes, it
No.
could. Because
Could. Could. Yeah. Is it a nifal? No. Excuse me. Is it a PL? No. It's a nifal. But there, in certain weaknesses, it can look like one word crosses over into a different irregularity. You have to be careful of that. Yeah, the root is nin sav. And because of the missing noon here, apparently somebody started using a yod up here. Here we don't put a noon, so there we don't put a noon. Hit yatzavu. Okay, so these two roots are interchangeable. Nun sadi bet with yud sadi bet. And now, you all stand still. Ve'ishapata. What? What?
it's got judge and there's got shin pei tet.
Shin petet, which we think of as judging, like a shofet. But the original meaning of the root shafat was not to judge, it was to make a decision.
Oh.
to set some sort of a custom or ordinance or, to decide. And here, if we used the word judge, it might not sound very good, right? Let's use the word judge. And we got aleph at the front, hey at the end. So what kind of a word is it?
Qualitative.
Cohortative.
Quantitative.
Cohortative. And it's got a trifecta, ia. What binyan?
Nifa.
Nif'al. So this would be translated as let me be judged. Okay, maybe that's okay, maybe whatever, but you can see what they did in translation here, that I may reason, because they're trying to reach back to the original root definition having to do with making a decision. Shafat. The shafta, and I will be judged or decided. Itchem, with you all, lifnei Adonai, before the Lord. Let the record be clear. Et kol tzidkot Adonai. Now that's going to be hard to translate, isn't it? Why would this be why would this be hard to translate? Et.
It's a direct object marker.
Good. I figured you would
But
answer that way. So we can't directly translate the direct. No, you're fine. You're fine. It was a bad question. We can't directly translate a direct object marker, but what's wrong with a direct object marker being here?
Because you're not directing it to the word before Adonai,
The direct object has to point to some kind of verb.
and it can't be directing it to the
oh, it's a word with.
See, if this were the direct object et, then that means it needs to operate with a verb that can take a direct object. Nifal cannot take a direct object. And a hitpael, well, its direct object is built into the verb because it's reflexive or reciprocal. So these cannot take a direct object marker. So what option do we have left? Cheryl said it.
With.
Can we translate it as some sort of a with? Because remember, et, the direct object marker, and et, the word with, look the same in the absolute form, but only differ in the construct form. Okay, let's try it. With all righteous things or acts, tzedakah, or tzid, no, I guess it wouldn't be tzedakah. Tzidkah, tzidkot. Tzidkot, tzedakah, tzid. Oh, it could be tzedakah. Anyway, it has to do with doing righteous things of the Lord. I want to be in the clear in front of everybody in all the righteousness of the Lord. Okay, let's get more information. Asher asa itchem ve'et avotechem. So this Asher is pointing back to, it's giving us more information about who's the subject of asa.
Adonai.
Okay. So usually Asher modifies the word that comes just before it. Occasionally it won't be right next door adjacent, but usually it is. So let's guess Adonai. How does it fit into here? He's the 3ms subject of he's the one that did. The translator put a capital H here. He's the one that did or made you all or with you all. See how this is itchem? Is that a direct object marker?
No.
No. If it were a direct object marker, it would be
Etchem.
etchem. Thank you so much for saying that. There are lots of Israelis that don't know this. They say otchem. It's etchem. Sorry, no dagesh there. Itchem means with you all. But granted, the scribes are the ones that gave us this vowel pointing tradition. So did they give us the correct vowel pointing or not? I mean, that's sometimes a fair question. But God, the one who did or made with you all, the et avotechem, and probably with your fathers.
Your father.
Mm-hmm.
He's setting them up.
Oh, yeah.
Say a few things.
Oh, man. You got that right. All right, who's next? כאשר בא יעקב מצרים, ויזעקו אבותיכם אל אדוני. וישלח אדוני את משה ואת אהרון, ויוציאו את אבותיכם ממצרים, ויושיבום במקום הזה. All right, so now he's going back into history. Ka'asher, like that, which will translate as at that time when something happened, when Ba Yaakov Mitzrayim, Jacob came. Should we translate this as a katal or as a participle? Could be either one. When did he come to Mitzrayim? Like 1,000 years ago or 500 years ago or something, right? So this is probably best translated as the katal. When he came, Mitzrayim, Egypt word, vayizaku, za'ak. And they cried out. Who did? Avotechem, your plural,
Fathers.
avot, your fathers. El Adonai, to the Lord. Vayishlach Adonai, and the Lord sent, shalach, et Moshe ve'et Aharon. Is this a direct object or is it with?
Direct
Object.
Because they're the ones that got sent. Very good. Vayotzi'u. Who's the subject of Vayotzi'u?
Aaron and Moses.
Right. This is masculine plural, so it must be referring to a masculine plural subject. They too, Moses and Aaron. Now, what's the root, binyan, form?
The
of-
root is yatsa.
Good, very good. So it was probably an original watsa that turns into yatsa. Excellent. The reason we see the vav is because it's original. And why is there a chirik yod?
Zechifio.
Feel good. So what happened here is instead of having something like yeah, how, see, which should have been the original form, this ow sound turned into o. Yotzi becomes yotzi. And they caused to go out. Who? Whom? What? Et answers the question. Avotechem. From where? Mimitzrayim.
Mitzrayim.
Mimitzrayim, from Egypt. Your father's from Egypt. Vayoshivum. That's a funny name. I mean, a funny word. Is the root shin bet mem?
Nope.
No. Don't be absurd, Jared. What's going on with this word?
It's yashav. Is to dwell or to sit. And is them.
How do you know that the root must be? How do you know that the root must be yashav? There are
Context.
several good reasons.
Vayoshiv, lehoshiv means to make sit down or to make dwell, cause to dwell.
Let me qualify my question. And what is this word right here?
Yes.
Vayashivum. What's the difference between Vayoshivum and Vayashivum? As far as consonants go, they look identical. The only difference is the vowels and the meaning. What's the difference?
The stress.
I think both of them have final stress.
No, the soul.
I didn't understand. What did you say?
I said I don't know in Italian.
Oh, well, I don't know in Italian either. Das weiß ich nicht.
One is a Vayiktal,
They're both Vayiktols because
one's
they have
Gatal, one's Gatal,
they're both
and one's Hefil.
Vayiktols. They're both Vayiktols and they're both Hefils.
Hmm.
So let's mark all the commonalities here. They're all Vayiktols. They're both Vayiktols. They're both in what's the word? Yeah, they both have a Yiktol prefix letter. They both have a mem at the end. What's the meaning of the mem?
Them.
Them. So they have
Them.
a suffix, a 3mp suffix. They both have a sheen and a bet in their root.
Mhm.
They are both Hefil. So where's the difference?
I think for the second word, the root maybe shu,
How do you know?
because kamat
Be hard all week. 100.
This
Always gonna be 100.
the kamat's right there is the correct answer. This is what lets you know that you're looking at a hollow root. So what's the root over here?
Shuv.
Shuv. And the holam reminds you of the missing vav turned into a yod. So what's the root over here?
yashav.
Right. So what should have originally been washav turns into yashav. So the two roots are yashav, to sit or dwell, which is exactly what you all were making a point to say the whole time. And this one down here, which is completely irrelevant, is from the root shuv, to return, or cause to return, actually, because it's hefil. I caused them to return. So does this context help us decide? All I'm saying is, what if the rabbis got it wrong here? What if instead of Vayoshivum, it should have been Vayashivum? What's the difference? And he made them dwell, or and he brought them back? How can I prove whether that's a good choice or not? Bamakom hazeh.
This specific place.
Well, yeah, but look at ba. Can you return ba makom hazeh? Can you return in?
It had to be le.
Very good. So you'd need some sort of a directional preposition like lamed. So for that reason, the context here tells you that, even if you didn't have any vowels in this text and you're reading it because you're just excellent at reading Hebrew without vowels, that ba right here is enough to tell you, that must be vayoshivum instead of something else.
In this place.
Hebrew is so context heavy. Remember, the original text didn't have any vowels, and up until the 700s, nobody added vowels to the text. The rabbis simply memorized the whole thing.
And that by mal whom
Bamakom.
Bamakum answered the question I was going to ask, because out of ignorance, I was putting together the Mekrim and the Bashab. Was that Ba'um?
Vayoshivum.
Yes, Ba'ashabum.
Mhm.
And I was going to ask, is that an Elohim ends in a mem? And I was just wondering if when a word ends in a mem, does it actually more often than not mean a plural or more than one? But
If it ends in
other
if it ends in im, whether it's a chirik yod mem, or whether it's just a chirik mem im, then yeah, more often than not, that's going to be a plural. But there are certainly exceptions, like we saw with the word. What was it earlier?
that's
No, ve lim. Remember this one? This one has a chirik yod mem at the end, right? Is it a plural? No, because the root is ein lamed mem. So you have to watch out for where a root letter that looks an awful lot like a prefix or a suffix is actually just a root letter. But yeah, the vast majority of the time, Im tells you it's plural. And
Is used very much instead of for them?
no. That's your suffix. What's the there for?
And Yeshu.
Yoshiu. Yeah, exactly.
They.
The front, Vav at the end, they are the subject. They cause to dwell them. They made them dwell in this place. So that would probably be referring back to Moses and Aaron. Boy, God's giving Moses and Aaron, or Samuel's giving Moses and Aaron a lot of credit, but it's all, God's doing. And would anyone care to venture a guess what the mishkal of this word is? What is a mishkal?
Pattern?
A pattern. What do you mean? Give me an example. What's a mishkal?
Um, uh, I don't know.
It's basically if you take a word it's in its lexical form, especially, and you take the root letters out. Has anyone ever seen a pattern like this one before? Of
Yeah.
course.
Take a look.
Yeah. And what about this one?
Miktal.
Yeah, it's really hard to pronounce these with no consonants in them. So what we're going to do is add the arbitrary root letters kuf, tet, lamed, kuf, tet, lamed, in order to pronounce the pattern of the word. Miktal is a pattern of a word. You can change this kuf, tet, lamed out for anything. You could change it out for migdal. You could change it out for mishkan. You could change it out for
Ilvad.
okay. Mizbach. Milvad is not Mizbach.
It's it's preposition.
Milvad. There we go. Milvad has a mem at the front and a lamed there. Both of them are prepositions. Milevad. The root is bet dalit dalit. Badad, boded. So you have to worry about that dagesh showing up here. If there's a dagesh, it's probably from. And can anyone think of any other words from this pattern? Miktal, mizbach,
Michtam.
michtam, mitbach. I mean, there's tons of them. And what pattern is this word? I am not setting you up for success. It's this one. Say what? No, it isn't. Okay. So the original pattern was not miktal, it was maktal. People were lazy, so they turned it into a chirik. But the original pattern was maktal. We still have lots of words that have an ah sound under the mem. How about ma'aseh? How about machaneh? So also makom should have been makwam with a vav. Makwam. Well, that's hard to say. So it's simplified to makom. It is a miktal, I'm afraid. The vav right here messed it up. Can you think of any other words that have this irregularity? Or another similar irregularity? Ooh, how about moshav? If we take the original pattern, it should have been mao shav. What's the root?
Yesha.
Yeah, same as earlier. Washav, which turned into yashav. So a mao shav is hard to say. It turned into moshav.
So the word amar, it doesn't have yeah, it's got three.
It's a miktal. Or a maktal. Yeah, it is absolutely part of the same
Okay.
mishkal. Very good. I'd like to see you all train your eyes to try to find similarities in patterns. I know it's difficult, but once you can spot more and more patterns, you'll know what part of speech it is, and generally what function the word serves. And that's a fantastic way of improving your vocabulary. And okay, who would like to read the next slide?
I can.
All right, go ahead, Annie.
וישכחו את אדוני אלוהיכם, וימכור אותם ביד סיסרא שר צבא חצור, וביד פלישתים, וביד מלך מואב, וילחמו bam.
Vayilachmu bam.
יילחמו bam.
All right, so what can we discover here? Vayishkachu, shachach. Has anyone forgotten what this means?
I forgot what it means.
I forgot what it means. Yeah. And they forgot et Adonai Elohechem. They forgot their God, the Lord their God. Vayimkor. What's the root of vayimkor?
Machar.
Like tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow. That's chet. Tomorrow has a chet.
Very good. So the word mahar is tomorrow, and we're not talking about that. We're talking about mahar, to sell, limkor. And he sold otam, them, biyad Sisra sar tzva Chatzor. Sisra, the captain of the host of Chatzor. Oviyad Plishtim. Does anybody remember what the root of Palash, Plishtim, what the root means? Palash, invaders, invade. So the Plishtim were originally called the invaders. Uvayad Melech Moab, and into the hand of the king of Moab. Vayilachamu bam. There's a trifecta. So it's Nifal. Yod at the front, U at the end. They are the subject, and they nilcham. They fought bam against them. Questions?
Yeah, you said the Palestine. They were really originally called the invaders. So where did we get the term sea people from?
So the Plishtim were actually okay, let me back up a little bit.
I know historically where they come from, but where do we get that from? The Egyptians called them the sea people, and here we call them Philistines or Philistine.
Good. So it's actually multiple. The sea people are not one people. The Egyptians called them the sea people, and in fact, they were such a formidable army that they made peace with their longtime Hittite enemies in order to try to band against these sea people. But they were not one group of people. They were sort of a band of misfits, if you will, from all over the Mediterranean coast and from some of the islands. So they're not technically sea people, but if that's what the Egyptians called them, then we'll use that terminology. It's just that the Philistines were one group of them, or it could just be the name that the locals called the sea people, not what the Egyptians called them. I mean, we have options.
Well, I don't want to distract you. So the Philistine would have been what the Canaanite people would have called them.
Right. Well, yeah, the Hebrew people, the Canaanite people. Well, who knows how many of the Canaanites were sea people?
That's a good question.
Well, actually, Canaan comes from Ham, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He comes from Noah's son Ham. So that would be
yes.
a different ethnic line, whereas the Plishtim would have been from the Mediterranean.
They believe possibly from Santorini, the northern Mediterranean.
Right. And they didn't all just come in by sea either. A lot of them came in through the north, through Hittite territory, and invaded the land. Yeah. So it's a fascinating part of
You know,
Middle Eastern history.
it's also fascinating the way the Egyptians they eventually defeated them, and they were basically driven back to Gaza Strip. But
How
that's
so?
a different. Basically, the Pharaoh had tricked them into coming down to a certain choke point on the what's the river?
Nile?
Euphrates is not the Nile. So he tricked them into coming down to a choke point, and he was able to trap them and really deplete their sea power,
Nice,
and they were forced to retreat out,
nice.
and that's how Egypt eventually got rid of them
Sweet.
for Egypt.
Right, for Egypt. All right. Any questions on this verse before we move on? All right. Who would like to read next?
This week I'm doing good just to follow you. If you, I can try, but this week I'm just doing good to
All right.
follow what people are saying.
Notice that there's a difference in this verse between what the rabbis tell us to read versus what's actually written in the text. What is that phenomenon called? Anybody? When what was
Kativ,
mm-hmm.
Kativ something.
Steve something.
Kativ Kari, Karo, Karo.
Mm-hmm. Kre. Steve Kre.
Okay.
So we have here what is written, katav, versus what we're supposed to read, kara. This is what we're supposed to read. This is what's actually written. And a little bit of a difference, but evidently the rabbis thought it was a good idea to read it this way instead of that. And there's usually good contextual reasons for why they do this. Okay. Vayizakul el Adonai
It's cool.
vayomer
Yeah,
hatanu. They cried out unto the Lord, and I wonder if I have those two backwards. I wonder if this is what the rabbis tell us to read. I forget what the notation is. Yeah, maybe this is the Ketiv because it doesn't make sense. Why doesn't this make sense, but this one over here does?
Bayomaru is for plural.
Mm-hmm. And we already have a verb over here in the plural, so it would make sense that this verb is also in the plural. So did somebody forget to cross their T, dot their I, include a vav? Is that what happened?
I got my own suspicions if this is how it actually is in the original document,
When,
but that's
let me word it this way. When was vav at the end of a word ever a vowel? When did that start?
I don't know. I mean,
The time of King
in that
Solomon,
that was under Solomon,
under Solomon.
so that started even before the we get
So in
this
fact,
text spirit.
right. So in fact, we should be wary of the fact that some scribe, sometime between Solomon and to the time that
And
we
the
have the
Babylonian
Bible in
return.
our hands, some scribe said, "Oh, I'm going to update the text here and add a vav so that everybody knows this is plural." Why didn't they add a vav here? I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. But the point is, this is what we should expect pre-Solomon. This is not what we should expect pre-Solomon. So this lets you know that yes, there were people who updated the biblical text all along, but they does that mean we can't trust what's written in the Bible? No. I mean, God can use imperfect people. I'm sure He's perfectly capable of preserving His word.
So pre Solomon, it would have been in Paleo Hebrew different than what this is.
Right. Well, the paleo would be different because it's a different script. But my point is that there wouldn't be a mater lectionis vowel letter at the end of any word. If there's a vav or a yod or a hey at the end of any word, It has to be there as a consonant. Like the word pri. This is a consonantal yod. Um, or no, not that one. I'm trying to think of a good vav one, and I can't think of a good example. Um, what has an original vav? Oh, shala, shala or shalao, like this, from which ultimately becomes the root for shalom. That will go missing and turn just into a vowel hey later on. It has to do with peace or tranquility. And let's see, and an actual consonantal hey would be something like gavah. These would show up pre-Solomon, but vowels, no. And then in the Babylonian exile, or about the time of the Babylonian exile, that's when the Hebrews started using mater-lectionis letters in the middle of words, probably something they inherited from the Arameans. Maybe the Arameans are the ones that came up with this chidush, this novelty. But from that point on, we get to see yods and vavs in the middle of words. And okay, Yizaku El Adonai vayomeru chatanu. We have chet, we have sinned. Ki azavnu et Adonai, for we have forsaken or left the Lord. Vanavod, that makes it a vayiktol, and we have served et ha-be'alim, the Baals, the et ha-ashtarot, and the Ashtaras. And so think of Baal as being like, I don't know, Zeus, and think of Ashtoreth as being what, like Deanna, what was her name? Diana,
Diana.
one of the,
Diana.
or I don't think, maybe not, maybe, I don't know, Aphrodite. I'm not very good with European
You're
mythology.
probably
It's going to
no,
be
you're
like the
probably more right
major,
with Aphrodite.
right? So
Aphrodite would be
the
the
major,
goddess of pros maternity or
well, yeah,
very.
fertility. So I was thinking like Aphrodite, but maybe not. Whatever.
Aphrodite is probably more right.
Anyway, so the point is, think of like the chief male god and chief female gods of the Middle East, of the ancient Near East. They are Baal and Ashtaroth. And sorry, um, um, we're supposed to be worshiping the Lord alone. So don't do that. Vata Hatzilenu. And now, what's the root? Hatzilenu.
Natal.
Natsal. There's the missing noon in the Dagesh. uh, bring deliverance to us or cause deliverance for us. Miyad oyevenu, from the hand
So
of.
every time we get a Dagash and the is that Sadi?
Mhm.
Is that always a missing noon?
I'm afraid not. If it's a strong dagesh, it means that it always means that it's grammatically doubled, but then it's our job to know why. And we have some options. It could be because there used to be a nun and it assimilated and just became a tzadi with a dagesh. It could be that there were two letters tzadi that turned into tzadi with a dagesh. It could be
Which it
some.
was
It could be
which it
some other
was what
letter.
two so two verses ago it was a double Sadi and now it's a missing noon.
I don't remember from 2 verses ago which. Oh, you're talking about ratzoti. Yep,
Yes.
from the word ratzoti. That was a doubled tzadi, resh tzadi tzadi, and this one here has a missing nun. The point is, the strong dagesh tells us that the root is doubled. We need to figure out why. But do not pay any mind to the weak dagesh. It does not mean that the letter is grammatically doubled, like this one right here. So how do we tell the difference between weak and strong dagesh? The preceding vowel. If there's no vowel, it's a weak dagesh, and it only shows up in 6 letters. If there is a vowel before it, then it means it's a strong dagesh. So this one right here, that's a begad kifat letter. Is it a weak dagesh or a strong one? Ha be'alim.
I'm gonna guess and say strong, but I'm guessing.
No, you don't have to
because
guess.
of the
There's a,
valve.
exactly.
There's
There's
a
a
vowel there.
preceding vowel. Exactly. You don't have to guess. You know exactly that it's got to be strong because of the vowel, and it means that some letter is missing. As best as scholars can make out, there's probably a missing lamed here, but that doesn't really make a difference, so we don't have to talk about it. ואתה הצילנו מיד אויבינו ונעבדך. What? Is that a strong dagesh?
No.
Is there a vowel before it?
Yeah.
It's a strong dagesh. Anybody know what's missing? It's a very weird phenomenon called an energic noon.
The noon might be
Yeah.
missing.
Energic noon.
American.
Yeah, in Arabic, having an extra noon right here changes the meaning of the verb by a little bit, making it more certain of an action. But most scholars will tell you that energic noon in Hebrew doesn't mean anything. It's just a stylistic form that still shows up in ancient texts. If we were to take this as an energic noon and translate it as certainty, then I would say this should be translated as, and we will certainly serve you, as opposed to we will serve you.
That's energy.
That's energy.
Yeah.
All right, who'd like to read?
I would like to read.
Okay, go ahead.
וישלח אדוני את ירובעל ואת בדן ואת יפתח ואת שמואל. ויצל אתכם מיד אויביכם מסביב, ותשבו בטח.
Excellent. How do you read this?
אויביכם.
Oy- Oyevechem. Oyevechem. Be sure to put the stress on the end. Chem is always stressed. And then that's an audible shva. Oyevechem. Vayishlach Adonai et Yeruva'al. Does anybody remember who Yeruva'al is? You know him by his other name.
Jeroboam.
No, it's not Jeroboam. That was a king of Israel. I don't think he's come around yet
Oh,
because we haven't had a first king yet.
oh, this is the one that Solomon distrusted.
Hang on. Currently, Samuel is speaking. So that's pre-Solomon, that's pre-Israel, and Judah, that's pre-two kingdoms. This is very early on in Israel's history.
This is not Jeroboam.
It's not, no. What does this
Oh.
name mean?
What was the question?
Who is this? We know him better by a different name. Who is this?
Yeah, but I can't remember.
We can't remember
Oh,
that. Then I'm
No, the prophet that was called to curse him.
He was a wild man, wasn't he?
No,
No.
and no. Okay, so
Not Balaam.
Balaam. Oh, Bilam. No, it was not Bilam.
Balaam.
That was definitely pre-Samuel, but he was. What was he? Was he a Moabite? Was Bilam a Moabite? I don't remember.
No, but he was hired by the Moabites.
He was hired by the Moabites. He's from Media, isn't he? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, Bilam was definitely pre this era, but it's not this guy. So I want to move the question to something else. What does this man's name mean? You see, there's a strong dagesh in the bet.
Yeah.
Can you make out two words here?
He's fighting, he's quarreling with Baal. He's coming against Baal.
So this is probably reminiscent of the verb we now know as yariv, which would have originally been spelled as let me fix that. Would have originally been spelled something more like this.
Elijah?
Yahweh. Or nope, sorry, we can't have a vowel. We don't have vowel letters yet. There we go. Yahweh. Yahweh. That's hard to say. I get it. Yahweh. All right. The point is, it ultimately turns into Yariv. And you said it means what?
To war against Baal.
Yeah, to have an argument, I don't know, maybe contend.
Quarrel.
Quarrel. That's the word. Quarrel. Quarrel with Baal. All right. Nobody remembers.
Elijah.
No.
Did
Quarreled.
he did? But I think Elijah. I mean, he did. Yeah, he.
Oh, there
Oh,
is
it's coming back.
somebody.
It's coming back. You got it, Michael. Who is it? Who's the guy
There's
who quarreled with Baal? I'll
there's
give you a hint.
Was
a
Elijah?
fighter. No, this is somebody
No.
who tricked them all into going to a building and then he burned them
Well,
up.
that was Elijah, wasn't it?
No,
Mm.
Elijah challenged him in a
Yeah. But then afterward, uh, but I
Does he
know
get
what you're talking about.
does he get mixed up with Yiftach sometimes? The two, there were two kind of
I don't know.
this
Maybe.
is the one that becomes the king after Ahab.
All right. Who is a timid soul that God calls, even though he's a nobody, and he asks for a sign that has to do with
Gideon.
the fleece? Gideon.
Oh my
Gideon's
goodness.
alternate name was Yehuval.
Yes.
So
And here's Yiftach. You were talking about Yiftach and Shmuel, Samuel. Is this Samuel saying that all of these judges were sent? So he's like, God sent me too. Anyway,
yeah,
Vayishlach Adonai
everything
et
I was saying is afterwards. So
he sent Yoval or Gideon, ve'et Badan, ve'et Yiftach, ve'et Shmuel, vayatzev etchem. So he sent all these judges and delivered you, rescued you, miad oivechem, from the hand of your enemies, misaviv, all around. Vateshvu betach. What's the root of vateshvu?
Yashal.
Shav, and you settled, you dwelt in betach, security, safety. All right, who will read next?
I'll read.
Thank you.
ותראו כי נחש מלך בני עמון בא עליכם, ותאמרו לי לא כי מלך ימלוך עלינו, ותאמר אלוהיכם מלככם.
Vadonai Elohechem Malkechem. Very good. Vatiru is Vatiru, and you all did see Ki Nachash Melech Bnei Ammon, that this guy named Snake, the king of Ammon, Baalechem came against you, Vatomru, and you all said, Li, to me, Lo ki melech yimloch aleinu. No, a king shall reign over us. Vadonai Elohechem Malkechem. How should we translate this vav right here? I would argue that when is not the best translation. We could go with a standard and, but what's better? Do we have a contrast?
But
Yeah, Melech Yimloch Aleinu is what the people want, but Adonai Elohechem Malkechem, but the Lord your God is
your king.
implied verb, your king. What do you want another king for? You already have a king.
and why why a king named like a snake?
Okay, so there are actually a lot of
Nakash.
there are a lot of names that are also animals, and there are two main theories. One of them is so that you have power over that animal, and the other theory is that you are fierce like that animal. It's like somebody being named the lion. You're scared of that. But if your name is, Achbal, mouse, that's a weird name to have. Yeah, but it exists. Why? Well, because mice could bring an infestation and destroy the whole camp. So by having this name Achbal, you are equal or greater than mice are, or something like that. Those are the two theories.
But my question is, why are they are comparing wanting a king like a Nahash, seeing it's a Nahash that got us all into this trouble in the first place back in the garden.
I don't have an answer for that. All right. Would anyone like to read the next verse?
And I,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, let's see. Be'ata hineni kamelech asher be'arten asher sha'altem ve'hineni natan Adonai olichem melech.
Alechem melech. Good. ועתה הנה המלך אשר בחרתם, אשר שאלתם, והנה נתן אדוני עליכם melech. And now, behold, the king that, here's more information about that king, Bachartem, that you all have chosen. The implied connection here is that he's the object, that you all have chosen him. Asher she'eltem. So this is going to be the same thing. It's more information about the king, she'eltem, that you desired or asked for him. V'hinei natan Adonai, and the Lord, behold, the Lord has given or set or put alechem, over you all, melech, a king. He said, fine. Im tira'u et Adonai, va'avadtem oto, ushmatem bekolo, velo tamru et pi Adonai, vihietem גם אתם, וגם המלך אשר מלך עליכם, אחר אדוני אלוהיכם. If you will see, this isn't the root to see, is it?
Mhm. No.
Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Fear the Lord.
The
Yeah.
yoke is part of the root. If you all will fear or revere Adonai, va'avadetem, and you all will serve. How do I know this is a future tense? Usually katal is a completed tense.
It's Vekatar.
The vav at the front makes it vekatal, future, and you will serve oto, him, ushmatem, and you will listen, heed, hearken, obey, bekolo, at or to his voice. What's the root of kol?
Kuf vav lamed.
How do you,
I don't know. I'm guessing. I
I
think
was
so.
going to say, how can you be certain? But you answered my question. If,
Is it because of the Holland?
yeah, but look at I'm trying to think of another word where something similar happens, but there's a dagesh in the third root letter, or second root letter. Um, oh, come on, Jared. Think of one. Oh, I wonder if I have. I can probably search for one. Well, that would take a little bit of time, wouldn't it?
So that would be like a double.
Right. So if you had a dagesh right here, then you could be certain that the cholam that you see is part of the pattern instead of part of the root. Since
Right.
there's no dagesh, this cholam is probably hinting at being part of the root. So kuf vav lamed. Quote, oh, okay. I thought of one and I just realized why. Okay. Think of this word right here. What's the pattern of this word? Yeah, what's the root of this word?
Kof
Kol
Lamed Yod? No.
Any other opinions?
Kaf Vav Lamed.
Hmm.
Aleph,
What's the root of this?
Delta.
Kuch.
Right, exactly. Kuj, which turns into kodsho. So this short u is original, but in Hebrew it turns into kamatz katan. Kodsho was originally kudsho. In fact, there are still some words that have the u preserved. This is part of the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the pattern too. You can tell because of the lamed. If we write it out, it would be something like kul, kulo, which is the same pattern as kudsho.
Mm-hmm.
The kibbutz is part of the pattern, so the root is kaf lamed lamed. You can tell because of the strong dagesh. I was trying to think of a word where it had an O sound, but had a reduplicate. Oh no, that's not good. Ho. I was trying to think of the root of the word mountain. Apparently, it was originally hey resh resh, but instead of it turning into ho, it turns into ha. Probably because its original form was ha, like this.
So
So
Har
har.
was originally Hey Resh Resh.
hmm And there are some places where the two resh letters are preserved, but most of the time it just shows up as harim. We'll never see the dagesh though, will we? Because resh is a quasi guttural. And okay, bekolo velo tamru, and you do not. Oh, what's the root of this one?
Mary.
Mary. That's right. A Mary is the noun for rebellion. So that means this is mem resh yod, missing yod. Tamru. If you cause rebellion against or at the mouth of the Lord, vihitem, and you all will continue to be gamatem v'gam hamelech, both you and also the king, asher malach alechem, who is reigning over you, or who does reign, who will have been reigning over you. It has to be a completed tense. So maybe will have been reigning over you. Achar Adonai Elohechem is um, this achar goes with which verb?
Late.
I'm having
Atem.
trouble finding it.
Atem.
Well, we have a verb here. If you will fear, if you will serve, if you will obey his voice, do not rebel.
Mhm.
The mouth of the Lord, and you will be. Okay. So here's our subject, gamatem v'gam ha-melech, and then here's extra information, asher malach alechem. So all of this is parenthesized. It means this is our verb, and this is the continuation of the thought. if you all will be after or pursuing the Lord your God. This is our subject. That's a relative, relative clause. Uh-huh. Telling more about the king. So we can kind of parenthesize those off and set them to the side. If you all will continue or be after the Lord your God.
So
Ooh.
V.E. Tim, they've translated as continue. That's the verb to be, right?
Mm-hmm. And what is the verb to look?
Least to kill.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I mean in English. To use your eyes, right? What's the word to look out? Well, to beware of something. What about the word to look up? Well, to find in a dictionary. So by
Uma,
changing what I'm getting at is that by changing the preposition, you can significantly alter the meaning of a verb, both in English and in Hebrew. So they're looking at this verb this preposition ahar, and using it as the context for translating haya. If you will be after, that is, continue following,
Mm.
but literally, I hear you. Haya does not mean to continue, it just means to be.
Mhm.
All right. Well, my family sounds like my family got home and I have been sitting in this chair for 12 and a half hours. I am going to go.
Yeah,
I
I
hope
do
you,
too. I do have a question though.
what's that?
Now, last week in one of the classes I got to participate in,
Okay.
the instructor was saying, and it looks like to me, it looked like we had this happen 3 times, but I could see we had a break. But I heard that they don't like you to use Adonai in the same verse and say Adonai if it happens twice more than once in the verse.
Yeah, the scribes have a tradition that if the actual word Adonai spelled Aleph Dalet Vav Nun or no Vav and God's name Yod He Vav He appear back to back, rather than saying Adonai Adonai, the tradition says to read it as Adonai Elohim. More
Well,
modern readers will say Adonai Hashem, but the point is, tradition says you can't pronounce Yod He Vav He, so you have to use some kind of a circumlocution, a substitute, and so rather than saying Adonai twice, use something else.
and we didn't have a chance for me to be able to ask you last week because of Father's Day, but
Oh yeah. Well,
I was curious about that.
hope everyone had a good Father's Day or gave their father a good Father's Day. I certainly had a good one. Um, Listen, if you want to support Hungry for Hebrew, here's how you can do it, or join one of my classes. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Lehitraot v'shalom.
hijrot, salam.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Bye, guys.